Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater, and today we're going to do some coloring. I'm going to flat this image first, and then before that, let me show you kind of where I was before we last left off, right? I was in the middle of inking last time we talked, and so I got everything inked. And currently, I have everything sort of set up in layers. So Jake is his own layer of line art. Like so. We got the debris here, like so. We got background objects, like so. And this is some color holds. I kept on a different layer. I'll probably put them in the same layer as the background objects. And then this energetic thing here, the spell that he's casting, like so. So, next, I've got to kind of figure out how I'm going to do the layers for, would you call it? For Jake's flats, right? I think what I'm going to do here, so I'm just setting up a line art below, or a layer below the line art, and I'm just going to start flatting from there. And I think make that slightly lighter. I'm gonna end up messing around with that color when I actually go into do like lighting effects. I mean, when I'm flatting, I'm just kind of it's really kind of note taking for color. The whole point and purpose of doing flats ultimately isn't. Although you can do it this way, and I've seen people do it this way. It isn't to have the thing fully colored when you're done with the flats. It's just to really have the color shapes set in. So I'll show you real quick. That's what I mean by the color shapes, because what you want to do is you're going to have your wand, or whatever your selection tool is, and you want to be able to select all of that color whenever you're going in, doing shades, doing whatever it is that you're doing. So I'm going to do that real quick. And like I said, or maybe I didn't say, I've done flatting in a previous video, and you can see me do some flatting for a couple of panels, I think, featuring Mila and Mason Douglas, and that's there. I don't know if I had anything to say about that beyond that. Um, but why not show you the process again? There's always room to do it again, right? Um, so I guess I can give you all some thoughts, some further elucidation, perhaps, on flatting as a process. It's kind of boring. I usually like listen to audiobooks and stuff when I'm doing this, and it usually takes me about, I think, I would say for about 13 or so panels. It takes about 45 minutes. Not super long. Maybe sometimes depending on how complicated the page is, I could do it. Like if it's a less complicated page, I can do it in about I can do about 30 minutes. So I know that last time I had talked about the line art rate, and so here's something that's kind of an issue with this particular picture because I used the textured line art. Is that one second? Is that it's not the fill like the beautiful Clip Studio fill bucket is not catching it's not catching every little pixel like I would like. So I have to go in with the pen tool and kind of fill in here and there. And that's okay. It's a little annoying, right? There is one thing I could do if I really want to just like be lazy about it. I'll show you all real quick. So I'm going to create a layer. Maybe I don't need to. Yeah, this layer isn't occupied, so I'll just use this layer. Below all, like everything, right? I'm going to make a layer underneath all that stuff, and I'm just going to pick kind of an all-purpose color. Maybe let's do that. Sort of a gray, like a light grayish, green, bluish thing. And what that'll do, I feel like that doesn't really make sense. Okay. Versus what I want to actually accomplish, and considering what the light source will be like. So yeah, I'll use like this kind of warm, yellow orangish color, right? I was thinking about this the other day. When it comes to colors, I don't really know. I couldn't give you the names of all the colors, but I could, if somebody showed me a color, I could recreate it fairly easily. And I feel like that says something about the way that my mind works. I don't know what, but it says something. Anyway, what I was saying was, so now it pops more when I need to go in and kind of fix. I don't know if I'm going to do this ever again. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use this particular textured pen again in the future, because I kind of forgot that this was an issue with it. So yeah, I'm just kind of rushing through and making sure that I get all of Jake flatted, all the particularities, like this band-aid that he's got, and then the screwdriver. Oh, oops. I kind of messed up, y'all. I need to take that a layer above. Oh, no. This is turning into more of an issue than it should be. I'm going to have to go back. Alright. How bad is it? That bad. Okay. So, select it all. And erase. Oh, no. Use the background color. It's annoying. I know it didn't take me very long to do that, but the fact that I lost any kind of time is just annoying because, you know, that's kind of how you think when you're doing this on deadlines, right? Every minute counts. And so whenever you have a mess up like that, it's like, oh, how much time did I just lose? That's okay. Just more time y'all can hang out with me, right? Alright. And then, this band-aid. I might change the color of that band-aid, but I don't know. Kind of like it. Hand. So what I think I'm going to do for this video is just, I'm going to flat Jake, and I will do some lighting stuff, so like shadows, reflections, just to sort of show y'all what that looks like, because I don't think I've done a video of that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I did do a video of that. Cannot remember. That's becoming a theme as I'm getting older, I guess. Not that color. Let's do... Yeah. That looks alright. Although... Yeah. Just all red. Then the screwdriver. Kind of a metallic grayish color. I mean, that color is going to get changed considerably because this... So this... The point of the screwdriver is going to be within the most intense part of the light that's going to happen with the spell, and I'll probably do that within the course of this video. Let's do the beer can real quick. Oops. Like so. So we got it all. Oh, and the beer. Like that. Maybe more yellow. Yeah. Okay. So that's all Jake. Like I said, we'll just focus on Jake for this video. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to name this layer Jake Flats. Jake shade, the next layer above it. 1 second, I want to check on something. Alright, and I don't need this reference anymore. Just focus. I'm looking, just kind of making sure I'm not forgetting anything. So like all this debris is going to be colored on a separate layer. And so part of the idea here is when I send this promo banner in, I'm going to want to have everything on separate layers for the graphic designer who's going to put the final, like put everything together for the desktop. Because like this is basically how it's going to look on the smartphone, but for desktop, and I'm not really sure, maybe also for iPad or other devices, the graphic designer kind of has some room to mess with things and create some layering effects. So that's why I have everything in separate layers. So anyway, I'm going to make another layer here called blush, and that goes beneath the shading layer. And above the shading layer is reflections. Oops. Reflections. It's probably all that I need for the moment. So let's start with, I don't know. The tarot card in the background needs to be, oh, never mind, that's background. I'm getting distracted, y'all. Okay. So what I think is going to happen, I'm thinking real quick what kind of brush I want to use, right? I might want to mess around and use kind of a different brush here. So let's experiment for a second. I'm going to start with the reflections. That could be a fun brush. It's the Watercolor Brush. So let's make a note of that. Watercolor. Nope, not that one. Acrylic Blender. I kind of like it. Maybe. Well, I'm kind of lazy and I don't really want to check out every single brush. I just kind of want to have a slightly unique and different effect for this image. I have to keep it more consistent within the comic for my own, I guess, sense of self. I don't know. I'm kind of wondering, like, why not? Okay, so the main reason why I haven't messed around, I guess, more with brushes for these kind of effects within the comic itself is I want to have some amount of consistency between season to season. Oops. I mean, I'm not even staying consistent within the sun picture. Okay, hold on, I gotta go back. So I use these promo banners as like a place where I can kind of mess around and learn some things and do some things I wouldn't usually do. Alright, so what I'm doing, I don't know if I said this, this is the reflections layer, and what I mean by that is like, this is just like the intense light that's kind of bouncing off of the light source, right? And the light source is this middle area where Jake is casting the spell with the screwdriver. So everything emits from there. Usually I do the shadows first, but I'm just doing it different this time for whatever reason. And I'm going to just do the reflections first and work my way down. So it's a really intense source of light, so there should be a lot of light kind of reflecting off of everything, right? To better indicate how intense that light source is. Like if it wasn't a very intense light source, like let's say it was a lamp, right? I wouldn't be using all this. We'd have more of, it'd be softer. Like maybe we'd have a little bit of light on Jake's nose, a little bit on his chin. And it would, all the main light would be right here, you know, the screwdriver and the, in his hand, you know. But because it's such an intense source of light, you really want it to bounce off of kind of everything. To just really push that point, right? To make that point that like, oh, this is super bright. All right, so yeah, back here, because I think there's going to be some shadow extending right here on Jake's arm. Back here. Maybe a little bit right there, a little bit, maybe not right there, I don't know. Nostril. Tiny little bit off of his earlobe right there. A lot of this is going to be in shadow, but right here would be a good place to indicate some light. Right here. This is a fun brush to use. This is the acrylic blender. I'm going to try and make a note of that. Alright, pick another color. Do some more reflection. That's more subtle because it's kind of the same color almost. Alright. And so once we get to his hand, there's going to be a lot of stuff reflecting light, but I'm going to have to pare down just like a little bit. And I'm going to show you all what I'm going to do next after I set up all these reflective sources, because I'm not just... Actually, what I'll probably do is I'll do the shadow and then I'll do what I want to do, what I was saying I was going to do. Alright, that looks pretty good. So next, let's see, pull back. Maybe a little bit right there. Alright, so now we're going to go to shadow. And for this, I'm just going to select all of Jake and go into the shade layer. And I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to save real quick. And then I'm going to pick a very warm color, because the palette, the general palette of this image is like a warm palette, so my shadow needs to be sort of a warm color. I'm going to go in and start just, let's see, multiply. I usually do, so for shading, I usually do multiply at 50%. You can do a little less, but 50% is a pretty good number to pick. Very easy way to make good looking shadows. This is a pretty decent color, I think, for what I want to do. Alright. And I kind of like the way this brush looks. It's kind of a fun brush, so we'll see when we're actually finished with the image. I might regret it. Shadow. The way I'm laying that shadow out looks kind of funky. Alright. So the shadow is going to extend like that. On a bigger brush to kind of fill this area in. But also try and kind of contain some of that energy, right, in the shadow, so make it a little more loose, a little more, have little patches, right? Maybe I can go back here. Yeah. That looks cool. Oops, I gotta erase that though, because that's all gonna be, that's all in light. Alright. So drape all this in shadow right here. This is going to be sort of in shadow to imply it's his, what is that, his right leg? Trying to remember whether or not it's left or right. Oh, I've had issues with that in the past. I'll just leave it at that. Alright, so shadows back here. Alright. It's a very Bob Ross kind of episode. Yeah. Wait, hold on. I want to make that a little bit. Yeah, I think that works. This is all going to be in shadow. We got the shadow from his thumb on the beer can. So you see how, like, we were already sort of getting an idea of the light being cast, and I'm gonna be fussing around with this a bit more, right, in a little bit after I'm done doing this part. This is actually kind of a weird area because I'm not. So much of this part is in light, but I feel like there needs to be some amount of shadow, right? But not as much. Like so. Like so. And I'm actually going to deselect everything because I don't want I'm about to do to sort of fuss with everything else I've established. So I'm going to go in, do shadows falling on his face, nostril, clean it up. I hope that works. We'll see. I think that's it. Let's pull back. Looks pretty cool. Next step. All right, I'm gonna start. No, let's do this. I want to do this next because I want to show y'all a neat little thing I learned a long time ago from this artist named Ron Chan, who's a really awesome dude, and he's a great artist. And he pointed out a nice little way that you can kind of wake up the colors for skin. Take a soft brush. So I'm just using like the Clip Studio airbrush. And setting this up on another layer. I call this layer the blush layer. So I mean it's just literally like blush. I don't mean in the strictest sense, right? Like when somebody blushes, the skin around their cheek turns red. It's more you know, if you, depending on, you know, how pigmented your skin is, or the pigment of your skin, however you want to say that, a lot of people have around their joints, so around your knuckles, right? They're redder than a lot of the rest of that area. Same for your cheeks. So just throw down a little bit of, and everybody, like, obviously this is for a particular pigment of skin. Everybody sort of has different pigmentation, different ways that their skin interacts with light, and there are different ways that you can learn how to do this. I'm using this particularly for Jake's skin. He's a white guy, or Caucasian, whatever you want to say, right? I'm kind of tumbling all over this little segment because it's a slightly minefield-ish, but I'm just trying to talk about how you portray people's skin, right? And that's something I'm always learning new things about, because like I said, everybody has sort of different pigmentation. But as a general rule of thumb for lighter skin, a lot of times around these particular areas, you get some what I call blush. It's just like the underneath the skin you kind of have, because it's slightly translucent to some degree, you have some of the blood, basically, like the blood vessels kind of pop out a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to get the soft eraser and I'm going to lighten this up a bit. It's not as intense. But you see what I mean? Like it kind of just wakes up and creates a little bit of, what do you call, like variety, basically, in the coloration of the skin. And I'm about to do that with the lighting too. Alright. So I'm doing the same thing where I'm using the eraser and I'm just going. The further away it is from, I'm starting from the part of the reflection that's away from the light source and just peeling away a little bit. Just a tiny, tiny little bit. Like that. And you see how like all of that suddenly creates all this. It doesn't. It's not much that I'm doing here, right? It just suddenly wakes up what I was setting up because previously it was very graphic, right? Now it looks way more like I don't know, like light, you know, because light is my language. The language that I want to use, I can't find it. Like it's just more varied, right? It's that wave-like aspect to it, where it diffuses. So you do little things like that, right? Oops, not like that though. So easy way to create a little bit of more variety, right, in your coloring, and to give it slightly more painterly look, right? Like that. That looks pretty cool. I like how that's turning out so far. What else can I do? I might leave it at that for right now. So like the next thing I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to go over the rocks. I'm going to do the background elements. I have to flat those still. And I might do a quick video in the near future where I do all the lighting for the overall image. But first I got to get to all this other stuff. And I think I have chewed your ear off long enough, right? Anyway, we will talk again soon, and I hope you're having a good one. And have a good one, all right? Later.